first child was born in November. He was actually born on November 10th of 1997. And I had a 12-week maternity leave before I was going back to work. And I had this idea that I was going to get a whole bunch of things done. I was going to organize pictures. I was going to start the baby book. Um, I don't even remember what some of the other things were, but I thought I had all this time to do these things. Well, he's born. Nursing's challenging. It's just a whole new change in my routine. We travel for the holidays. I think we've told that. We went to St. Louis in Pennsylvania. And I felt like I was just getting connected with him and it was time to go back to work. And I realized how silly my ambitions were. I think I had a baby book that I put one picture in, and then I don't know what became of that. So, setting expectations, setting holiday, um, New Year's resolutions, are they realistic?
Hello, this is Don.
And this is Gina with Focused Healthy Family. This is podcast number 206. We are talking about goals, decisions, and intentions.
Well, and this being, this actually will land on the 1st of January for 2026. So first off, I want to wish everybody a happy New Year. I think want to put out that this is going to be a good year for us. I want to have that as my intention or my decision today. I like the word decision myself, but we're going to talk about the different things. Because I know I had trouble throughout my life trying to set goals. I'd set them, and I think they get lost in what I do, and my own sabotage in getting them set up and doing what they want me to do.
Before
So
we before we get too much into the
that's
conversation,
true. That's true.
I've got a joke.
Okay. Do you want to do joke or the
Yeah, let me do a joke. Don, what is a New Year's resolution?
what is a New
New
Year's
Year's
resolution?
resolution.
Uh,
Something that goes in one year and out the other.
that I know.
And you have some tips for us today?
That's the only joke.
Just one joke.
So much
It
for
was
this.
so fitting.
And mine's a pretty short tip too. This again comes from Caregiver 101 from Mike Collins. 101 ways to keep caregiving from making you crazy. And this is tip number 62. It's a pretty simple one. Take one day at a time. Caregiving is a roller coaster ride. There will be good days and bad days. Taking each day as it comes, being careful not to look too far into the future for yourself or your caregiving recipient. That can lower your that can lower your stress level. That's it for that, but it's pretty simple because it's looking at the future, and we do have to look at it one day at a time and not look too far in the future with stuff. But today we're going to talk about how we might be able to set some future goals for us and how they might be achieved.
So, Don, you found an article that talks about.
Well, it first came from actually from one of the groups I belong to, Melissa. Um, she talked about goals and that she never believed in them. And she said they're too, they don't, well, as I'm going to read up here, it says 92% of people never achieve their goals. And so she uses the word decision because once you decide on something, you do it. And I think that's one of the big differences between goals and decisions. If you've already decided on it, or if you're just thinking about it, to me, the goals are kind of thinking about it more than deciding on it.
Kind of wishful. It's
Yeah,
very future. And so it's almost never comes, right? The future never comes. It's always out
yeah.
there.
Well, that I think that's why it can be so hard to achieve because, well, a lot of procrastination comes into it too. I think, that's in the future. I don't need to work on it right this moment, kind of thing. And you always got to be working on them somewhat to get where you want to go.
I
Which,
used to struggle with breaking it down in steps because setting a big goal just feels overwhelming. But little steps that you can take. And so I like, what you talk about with a decision. I've worked with some coaches and things, and we use the word intention. We'd set intentions for each week. Um, you know, and the other thing I've learned is saying I get to instead of I need to or I have to. But I get to make dinner for my family. I get to clean up the house before we have company over. I get to go to work and bring home money for my family. I get to take care of myself. I get to take a walk. And so I have to play around with that idea, Don, of decisions versus intentions.
Well, I actually have a little bit of, I did a little discovery in that. I put in intentions. First off, the decisions, I looked up the definition of decisions, and it's the act or process of deciding, a determination arrived at after consideration, a judicial determination made after consideration of facts or law of a case. And then I looked up intentions, and what I found there's the state or quality of being intense, the act of becoming intense and more intensive, and uh, what the, thought they had a third one is logic, the sum of the attributes contained in a term. Not sure if I understand it, but what I did is I looked up the difference between goals and intentions and to see what they're like. And so what it said, what goals and intentions are both related to setting objectives and working towards achieving them, but they differ in their specificity and the level of commitment. A goal is desired outcome or a result that a person aims to achieve, while an intention is the plan or purpose that guides one action towards achieving that goal. So it's like I said, I think you like you said, the wishing for kind of thing versus I think intentions are more uh putting more mind to it. I don't know if that's the right way to say it.
Getting in the right mindset.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's kind of describing it that they kind of work hand in hand. Um, and yet, as you say it, it's working towards something versus your decision. I've decided that I'm going to go to the Y 3 times a week, or I've decided to me, then that sets me up for failure because when I don't do it,
Oh, oh, that's true too.
so if I intend to and I don't get to it, well, I intended to.
Okay. Gives you a
Um,
little bit lighter sentence to
a lighter sentence, yes.
that.
I'm being punished because I failed to follow through with my decisions. Yeah, I could see where that could trip me up a little bit. Um,
I just decided it does have some intentionality in the mind, I think, a little bit of if you've decided to do it. But like you say, you can't, if you don't get it done, then you have that not punishment, but just a regret or whatever,
yeah,
you know.
guilt or
Yeah. So they, like I said, I looked this up under Psychology Today. They talk about 92% of people's goals are never achieved. And these are some of the reasons they state for it. Um, Goals not linked to our values. So we're setting up something beyond our values. And I think that's something that I've always had really trouble getting to is my values. And I think I probably still need to work on that. I think um, unclear goals, where you put it, you know, you said it, I'm going to make so many miles in driving or something, but you don't actually put down what those miles are. That becomes a little unclear what they are. Bedtime stories, blame, excuses, and denial. I didn't look up what the bedtime story stands for, but um, lack of accountability. Nobody that having somebody to fall back on and kind of push you along gently,
mm-hmm.
not not to scold you, but to just say, "Hey,
Right.
I think you could do this."
Encouraging and
Yeah. Um, Failure, fear of failure. Um, Analysis of paralysis. That if I do this, I might get stuck where I am, and I'm not going to get it done. So why do it at all? Kind of thing, something like that.
mm-hmm.
Distraction. Well, the the uh, the the, the squirrel going by and looking for silver or something. I don't know. That didn't make sense, but
just, yeah, something else catching your attention, losing focus.
yeah, failure to track progress. So that's another thing I always had trouble with is I wouldn't put meters to it. I wouldn't put spreadsheets or anything like that to it to really track what I'd done. And that's always been a tough one anyway. Building spreadsheets for something or following along with something was kind of difficult for me.
On that note, I like the idea of making a to-done list instead of to-do list, where you write down what you've done. I did this with the kids with homeschooling. We took a very kind of organic approach of learning. And instead of, we have this assignment, whatever, I looked at what we did and said, we did this and kind of equated that. So we're learning language, we're learning letters, we're learning math skills, and kind of looked at what we did and then wrote down what we did so I could see that we were learning, we were exploring, we were doing new things, we were utilizing different skills and such. And I did that for quite a number of years, and it kind of helped me to see, yes, in fact, we are learning as we move along. And I've used that intermittently, and for myself, just writing down what I've done to see what I've accomplished. I remember when we had our second child, you went off to work.
Yeah.
You had a job that you were working at a distance, I think,
Yeah, it was like about an
part
hour.
time.
Yeah.
And I was home with the two kids, and I remember thinking, wow, I went back to work and you just had one baby to take care of. I have a 4-year-old and an infant. And I remember I made this list of the thing because I didn't feel productive. I was used to work. You have productivity. I had so many patients I had to see. I was used to checking off tasks that I had to do. I did the evaluation, the progress note, doing all these things. So I remember making this really pretty sign that had all the different things that I would do. And I hung it up on the refrigerator. And I remember you threw it out for some reason. And I was just distressed.
Oh
I was
my.
like, this was my sense of this is what I'm accomplishing. This is what it takes, being a mom at home. And
I didn't
for
know
some
that.
reason, I never recreated it. I just remember the stress I felt. It was like throwing away um, my importance. And
Wow.
it was simple things like making breakfast and washing dishes and changing diapers. And
Wow.
um,
I didn't realize that, and I apologize for way in the distance here, apologizing, but I apologize for doing that. I
well,
didn't
thank you.
realize
I'm
that.
sure I let you know at the time, but it's been a long
I think you
time.
did. I'm pretty sure you did. I had a few screw ups like that I can remember, but
um, yeah, and I could have created it again. I remember I had made it look real pretty or something. I don't know. I had measured out lines. I don't know. I just remember I liked how it looked. It looked very nice, and I
I
was
do it
really disappointed. And I guess I used that as an excuse
just to give up on it or
to
stop
not.
or
Well,
whatever.
it was a more of a affirmation of what I was doing than a list. It was, this is what I'm doing. This is what's important right now. And I think sometimes we have to, like you said, values. I've done many things over the years where you write down your values and you look at your time you're spending. Do you value family? Well, are you at work 80 hours a week? You know,
Yeah.
um, you say the kids matter, but you're always getting annoyed with them and telling them you've got other things to do. So really, what are your values? What is important? And thinking about this, how you spend your holidays, not to beat yourself up, but as an example, what matters? Family time, connecting. How much time did you spend connecting and paying attention, or were you busy prepping and cleaning and finding ways to streamline things, finding ways to get other people involved and helping?
Well, I remember, I think you might have brought this up at some point, but there was and I was never one to watch Dr. Phil, but one day I watched it, and the person that on there was a business person, like I don't know if CEO of a company or something like that, and they were talking about goals and and so he's asked him, well, what do you set for your goals? And of course, I think God was first and family next or something like that, and he went down the list and he had like a, I think he made it into a pyramid as he did it, but he went down the list and they talked and talked a little bit more and they kept going. And when they actually got to what his real goals were, it was almost like it was flipped and work was more important and the other things were more important than what he originally stated. And I thought that was very impressive because I
Or
think
how he
even
was spending his time was different than the values, or
well, I guess, yeah, I guess it was how he spent his time was what I'm trying to remember now. But I just remember it was he then totally flipped it then and said, no, you're not doing what your values or what you say your values. That's the other part of you saying that is it the right thing that you're really valuing, or is it something else? And it kind of it showed me, and I've still I guess work on that because I tend to make business a business my goal, and that hasn't. And I think that's part of my not setting the goals right is because I'm not hitting what I want as far as my business goes. So, but that one always kind of stood out for me when they talked about it.
I'm curious just thinking about this. Where we lived before, your office was in the basement. You went down half a flight of stairs, you had a room, door closed, you were at work. Now we have this little cubby hole in the middle of our living room. And like, did you feel like when you told you it was work time when you went down there and you were in the office? Now you come in here all the time.
Yeah, but I don't. Yeah, it's very different up here. I haven't thought about because sometimes I'll work in the bedroom and I'll do something outside, and that's not. There's no like solid to it. There's no, I don't know what solid's the right, but
Well, I'm differentiating between work and other time,
yeah,
work, family time, work and housework, work and whatever, differentiating those. I'm losing my headphones. Um, so
yeah. I think I think I was doing a better job of it when we were at the old house because I
it's
could
just
go
the
down.
physical barrier,
Yeah,
physically, because we
'cause
you joke about the traffic as you walk down the stairs.
well, and there was also a layer of steps that you had to go down to get to my office, and all of our stuff pretty much is here on this floor, so it it's a lot less for you to come in or somebody to come in and disrupt it or whatever. Um, I don't know. Yeah, it is different, that's for sure.
And thinking about, I know I worked in home health care for a while, so I've traveled to people's homes to do occupational therapy, and I could do the paperwork from home, which was great. I had a newborn and a young child. Yet I was working part time, but the paperwork seemed like it was always there. And so I love the flexibility in that time in my life. It was helpful. Yet, when I took other jobs, it's like I get it done when I'm at work and then I go home and I'm home. And to really differentiate that. And it was when I worked PRN as needed for different companies. I'd go to work, I'd do the work for them, and I'd come home, and I wasn't always seeing the same people, and it helped define it more clearly. Yet the incongruity and stuff made its own challenges. So now I have a part-time regular job at one place plus a little extra that I do, and yeah, it's just easy for it to bleed into home. Oh, I'll finish something up at home. Um, just that clear distinction. And different things I think work for different people. I was just curious sitting here thinking about that. I know you even we had to put a sign up on the window because I would, hey Don, and I'd come talk to you because it used to be that I'd go to work and then I was working very part-time and I was home more and you were home, and I remember it was a challenge because I would interrupt you and you're in the middle of getting something done, and then we had to kind of sit, okay, Dad's at work right now, we're not going to go tell him every little thing we think of. And I know for you, you started going to work in an office, and I remember you kind of enjoyed that. You were away, you didn't have distractions. I mean, our
Yeah.
kids were, relatively young, and we were involved because we were homeschooling them and they dealing with the kids that had some anxiety disorders. And so it was just a lot of extra work when we were in the house. And so that being away helped you focus and to really get some other things done.
Were you talking about when I worked for Parker?
Well, no, I was actually thinking about just working in Mike's office.
Oh,
But yeah, I forgot about that 1 year where you worked full time
yeah, that
and I was
was,
home full time. And yeah, I don't know if you can think back to that time you worked for somebody who had a web business, and yeah, you went to work and
when I had sold my business to him too, so I gave up my practice at home for a while. Um, yeah, that was, and that it was a learning experience. It was a good experience, but yeah, that it was very different working in somebody else's office versus even working in an office for myself, still myself. So
because even when you were in sales, you did a lot from home when you weren't traveling.
yeah, yeah.
Because I remember when some of the mergers happened, you had to go into the office and
Oh
how
yeah. Oh.
frustrated you were with that. Um,
Well, because it was a big office, and there weren't really there were some walls on the
cubicle kind of
side,
thing.
but most of them were cubicles, and you couldn't be very. And me, I get kind of loud when I'm talking with somebody on the phone or when I'm doing stuff, and so I'd always have to really try to quiet myself down when we're talking. Anyway, we kind of got off track a little bit, but
Well, thinking about our time and how we spend it and intentions as we're looking at the new year, do you set the same New Year's resolutions? And do they feel like punishment or taking things away, versus how can you add to your life? What decisions, what intentions can you put forth? Taking one little step. I've been known to be like, I'm going to write 5 mornings a week and I'm going to walk 5 times a week. I'm going to and come up with all this grand plan, and then it leaves so much for feeling that sense of failure when I don't do all those things versus, I'm going to set a timer and write for 15 minutes, 3 times a week, and making something that's very achievable before you progress on to bigger things.
so I guess we could ask the audience, do you set goals? Do you set intentions? Do you set decisions? Which ones are you looking to do for this coming year? Um, do have you set any goals at this for yourself or for us, Gina?
I set goals for us.
Or just yeah,
um,
have you thought
no,
of
I
any?
haven't yet. I've been working a lot
Yeah.
the past week. And I know I used to love to get a new calendar for the new year, and just something that fresh start. It always felt just fun, and picking out a pretty calendar. And, I love the ones with little inspiring messages in it, and it's colorful, and having something to kind of give me focus and the calendar. And last year I bought for myself a journal, and across the top it's got like all the months and all the days, and you'd circle what day you were on. And I'm like, okay, this is more open like a journal. And it sounded like a good idea, but it lacked that structure. Um, and it didn't get utilized very much. And, you can really start over any time of year, right?
Yeah.
The new year, it's a new month, it's a new year. Sometimes it's a new decade. Um, and just that freshness of the beginning. Um, but also you can set yourself up for, failure and disappointment when you resolve to do all kinds of things and you really don't have that intention to do it. So there's something like, you resolve to do something, but in the back of your mind, you're fighting it. I know when I tell myself, I'm going to eat less sugar, 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 then that's all I want. Versus I'm choosing to eat healthy. I'm choosing to, have some protein and some fruit, or, you know, making choices of what you want rather than setting goals of what you don't want. Because you get wrapped in that negative, and that, for me at least, it's, no chocolate this week. I want chocolate.
Yeah, yeah, working against the mind sometimes.
Because I mean,
Um,
you're an intention coach, right? Isn't that what you the mindset?
mindset.
Mindset, which to me, mindset, I mean, to me, that feels synonymous with intention. What is my mindset? What
Why, it's hard to
My mind went blank, just kind of.
come. Well, it's what I've been working on. You introduced me to this, the writing out every day, and I've done it, and so I'm really trying to get my mindset into place of more balance, more um, being able to handle situations a lot better than I used to, because I do believe that I am a power. We all are kind of powerful creators in what we wanted to do, and I want to work on that and really work on that idea and the mindset, kind of balancing out for this year and kind of see if I can do things a little differently.
And I have noticed a little difference. Yeah, I started this practice with you, and then I missed some days and got out of the habit. In fact, I decided I was going to start it again. Um, and yeah, I can see a shift in you. And
Well, because whatever I'm doing, if I'm saying something to somebody, like even the kids, it runs through my mind a lot of the things that were brought up in me and makes me sometimes stop what I'm doing and kind of rethink it a little bit and come up with maybe something a little more compassionate, a little more generous or something like that, which I think has been good. It, it just what's interesting is that and I find this all the time is the mind tends to want to fight that because it's kind of puts us in this little makes a box for us that it wants us to live in. And when we step out to do something outside that box, it has a want to kind of pull us back and not let us go down that route. And I'm stepping out on a different level again. And I think that's and it's trying to pull me back, but I've been a lot more softer even on myself and going, okay, I get it. You want me back. I understand, but this is not a bad place out here. And I always tell my mind, I want you to join me out here and feel what this is like. But anyway, that's kind of way I've been kind of trying to work on it anyway.
yeah, I can't even think of the book where that it came from, but it's basically releasing old ways of thinking about things and setting new intentions. And you copy this paragraph and you write it every day, and then you rotate through some other statements. And for me, I liked that it was so concrete. All I had to do,
Right.
right? And then you did meditate, and you're supposed to think about it. And for me, I just kind of repeated some of it, the sentence over and over in my head to kind of focus, and I'd set a timer just to see either how much time I was doing it or trying to aim for a certain amount of minutes. And just that um, it was very concrete what I had to do, and what I was writing. Um, and I missed some days, and I don't know why I didn't get back into it.
Okay.
Well, I just thinking about that right now. I because I was really enjoying it. Um, some self-sabotage
Yeah.
going
Yeah.
on there. I deal with depression, and it kind of causes that paralyzing kind of feeling stuck, not
Mm.
able to move forward. It affects my energy level after I work. I just want to veg out, so to speak, and do nothing. Um, and I've pushed myself in some ways. I've gotten my crochet bag out. I have quite a collection of bags at the chair I sit at in the living room with several different projects I'm in the middle of, but I at least feel a little more productive using my hands to create things. Uh,
And your kids gave you for one of your Christmas gifts was like a book of different I don't know, like solving things and stuff.
yeah, it was. Yeah, Harrison gave me. It's a puzzle. It's like a murder mystery puzzle, and you have to. It's quite involved. It's not just a book of like crosswords and things like that. It's like you read this paragraph, you learn about all these different people, and then you use
Oh
deduction.
wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
And
yeah, it's and I guess they start from simple to more complex, but it gives you little charts of, okay, this person was in this room at this time, and kind of
oh,
crossing
I
things
didn't
out.
realize that. Okay.
Yeah, so I did start to look through it, and I thought about it. But yeah, it's just sometimes it's the habit, getting into a new habit. Um, deciding, let's decide we're gonna Tuesday night is, cards night instead of
Yeah.
TV night, um, or even for me, I have to keep it in the positive. Like, not that we're not going to watch TV, but we're going to play some cards tonight, and maybe we
Yeah.
watch TV after, maybe we don't. But when I tell myself not to do something, I fight against it.
Yeah.
It feels like parent, like, you're not allowed to do this, and I like, yes, I can. Don't tell me.
I'll show you.
I can't. I remember a teacher told me that boys are just better in math than girls. And I swear I set out to prove them wrong because math was always my strongest subject. And yeah, don't tell me I can't do something. Don't tell me you're not supposed to do that. It sort of
So do I need to
causes
use that in reverse? So I say,
tension.
don't do something, so you do it?
I think we're all too familiar with that idea
Yeah. So for this 2026, think about, what do you want to decide on this year? What is it that you want to get done? Don't overbook yourself with it. Don't overwhelm yourself with it. But think about what you want to do, and then you can work towards it in a compassionate way. If you don't handle it one day, or if you don't all get it done for this year, even don't beat yourself up for it. It isn't worth it.
Play around with these ideas of decisions, intentions versus goals, using calendars, lists, writing a to done list, putting what you've done. I know the other thing I started doing at night before I go to bed, you'd ruminate on, like, oh, I wish I had done this. I wish I had said this. And I started um, what
Like a
did I
dump
call it?
list,
No, a gratitude
gratitude.
journal. I called it Yay Gina. So I wrote down all the things I was grateful for that I had done or said, or yeah, I looked at it after the fact, and I'm grateful, that I did these things. So I literally wrote that down so that instead of ruminating in my mind different conversations, how I wish I'd done things different, I wrote the positive things. I did this today, and feeling good, and it kind of amps up your energy. I then turned that into a journal I used to write in before I go to work. Today I'm getting my work done efficiently and smoothly and productively. And I found as I was doing this that I would have just a more positive outlook on my day when I set those intentions. I did that for a really long stretch of time. I think I was struggling a little with the need to work and the having to deal with our expenses, and um, wanting to be home more with the kids. And it kind of helped me shift things in my day, to set that intention of it's going to be a good day, and just kind of being grateful in advance for things. So kind of two sides of the coin of being grateful ahead of time, and also at the end of the day thinking about what went right, what you feel good about, what I stopped myself from yelling at my kid, or I stepped away for a minute and took a breath. I stepped outside, and whatever it is, I got up 15 minutes earlier, or whatever. And often they can be little tiny things, but it kind of helps you refocus on the positive, what you're doing right, and and kind of builds yourself up rather than beats yourself down.
Any last words before for 2026 coming?
I would love to hear more from all of our listeners, whether you're out there in the YouTube world watching us in our hand gestures, or you're listening on anywhere you listen to podcasts, whether you're traveling, going to work, or doing things about your house with headphones on. What things really strike a chord with you? I'd love to hear what things you'd like to hear more about, what things sparked an interest that we can delve into further. A lot of the people we've interviewed would be glad to come back on again. So I invite our listeners to reach out to us, send us a message,
Yeah, take
leave
a
a
moment to
comment.
look over some of our past podcasts and see if there's somebody you'd like to know more about and things like that.
And you can send us messages through our website. Um, I'll let Don tell you more.
So this is our podcast for today, and we hope you really enjoyed it. We'd love to hear from you, like Gina's saying. We'd love to hear more comments so we can turn it into our next podcast and answer those questions for you. Make sure to leave us comments wherever you're doing this from, whatever platform you're getting it, and make sure to subscribe to us. I would love to have more people subscribing to us. You can find out more about us at our website, focusedhealthyfamily.com, where we can talk about what Gina and I do together. You can do the EFT, the tapping process that I work with. I'm hoping to open up my monthly tapping sessions that I do on night, usually like once or twice a month. I do them. And you can find out how we can help others that might be going through the caregiving of a loved one that are having struggles. We can help in both those arenas. You're welcome to find us on Facebook at Focused Healthy Family, on Instagram at Focused Healthy Family 1, and YouTube at Focused Healthy Family. And you can join us each Thursday when we rebroadcast these at 8 o'clock Thursday mornings. This year it actually falls on January 1st, for the Happy New Year time.
And as we look to the new year, our focus has always been on caring for our children, our parents, and ourselves. So wherever you're at in that journey of juggling caregiving and multiple responsibilities, however it looks in your life, incorporating that whole family concept of navigating your journey.
And you'll find our podcast at focusedhealthyfamilypodcast.com. And remember, how you speak to your children and your loved ones today shapes their future and yours.